The story of Masha and the Bear. Masha и Медведь. Once upon a time there was a little girl named Masha, and she lived with her grandma, Babushka, and her grandpa, Dedushka, in a house out in a small village in the woods. One day, her friends came to her and said, Masha, Masha, we're going to go out into the woods. We're going to be hunting mushrooms. We're going to be hunting berries. Can you come with us? There are her girlfriends. And Masha went to Babushka, the Dedushki, and she said, Grandma, Grandpa, can I go with my friends out into the woods to look for mushrooms, to look for berries? And they said, okay, but be very careful. Don't get lost. So Masha and her girlfriends went out into the woods, and Masha had a wonderful time because over there were some berries, and over here there were some mushrooms, and she ran from tree to tree, from bush to bush, finding all sorts of wonderful mushrooms. And then she looked up, and she was lost. She yelled out, Alorichka! Snegurichka, where are you? But nobody answered. She was lost. Poor Masha. She walked and she walked and she looked and she looked. She was so lost in the woods, and then she came upon a hut. A little hut out in the middle of the woods. She knocked on the door. But nobody answered, so she walked in. It was the dirtiest, messiest hut she had ever seen. It was covered with cobwebs, the floors were covered with dirt, and the dishes in the sink were piled high. Who lives here, she said. Who lived there was a great, big, terrible bear. You're supposed to be scared? Well, you could be, are you a little bit scared? Teeny bit scared? Could you pretend to be scared? Yes? Could you do that? Okay, okay. When I say, great big terrible bear, you go, oh no, the great big terrible bear! Oh! Can you do that? Okay, here we go. And in came the great big terrible bear! Oh, the terrible bear, the terrible bear! So I like doing that. The kids love it. They get an excuse to go wild. Oh my God, oh my God. So, a great big terrible bear. And the bear was so happy, and the bear said, Masha, you will stay here with me. You will scrub my floors. You will wash my dishes. You will cook me porridge. And if you try to run away, I will find you and eat you up. Poor Masha, what could she do? So she scrubbed the floors, and she washed the dishes, and she cooked the porridge for the bear every day. But she got lonely. So she sat down and she thought, and she thought, and she thought. There she is, scrubbing and wiping up cobwebs. Poor Masha. So, the next day when the bear came in, Masha said, Medved, Medved. Oh, Mr. Bear, I want to give my Grandma and Grandpa some presents. I could go to the village and take them with me. But the bear said, oh, no, no, you would get lost. Let me take the presents to your grandparents. Okay, said Masha. And Masha started baking. She baked these wonderful pies. She baked pierogi. Spent all day by the oven doing wonderful, wonderful things. And then, when the bear came back, she got the biggest basket she could find. And she said to the bear, Medved, Medved, I'm going to put the pierogi, the cakes, into this basket, and you will take them to Grandma and Grandpa. But don't eat them, because I'm going to climb up in that tree, and I will be watching." "Okay," said the bear. "Now go outside and see if it's going to rain," said Masha. So the bear went outside, and while the bear was outside, Masha put herself into the basket and put some piroshki on top of her head. And so when the bear came back, he didn't see her, and he said, "She must have climbed up the tree." So he picked up the basket and started walking. And the bear walked uphill, and he walked downhill, and he walked through the bushes, and he walked through the valleys, and he walked through the streams, and he was tired. And he said to himself, "I think I'll sit here by the lake and eat up a cake." But Masha was in the back of his backpack, and she said, "Medved, don't sit by the lake. Don't eat up a cake. Take them to Grandma. Take them to Grandpa." The bear was amazed. "That girl must be sitting in a very high tree. It's amazing how far that girl can see." Here we are. So the bear picked up the pack, and he walked uphill, and he walked downhill, and he walked through the forest, and he walked through the trees, and he walked through the streams until he was very tired again, and he said to himself, "I think I'll sit here by the lake and eat up a cake." Masha said, "Medved, don't sit by the lake, don't eat up a cake. Ni sediš na penjok, ni sem pirozhok. Take them to Grandma. Take them to Grandpa." The bear was astounded. That girl must be sitting in a very high tree. It's astounding how far that girl can see. So he picked up the pack and he walked the rest of the way to the village. Then he put the pack down and knocked on the door. Tuk, tuk, tuk. But the dogs heard him, and they came running, barking, "Ow, ow, ow." And the bear got scared and he ran away. Then Grandma and Grandpa came out of the gate, and they looked, and there was a basket. Out of the basket came Masha, right out of the basket. They were so happy. And Grandpa and Grandma hugged Masha, and they kissed Masha, and they praised their little girl for being so clever. And that is the end of Masha and the Bear. Masha and the Bear.